Good morning, good morning, good morning. My apologies for the little break, that little space there. Yeah, my son woke up literally exactly when I started this live stream. Like he woke up exactly when I started it. So anyway, good morning. I'm gonna start now, and I know as people join, as people join, we'll definitely be talking about the topic. But I have to start with something that you guys saw what happened yesterday, and it was all over. I don't want to like really keep talking about it because it's all over social media. I just want to pay my respect, to the family, to the families involved. Definitely, it's been. I'm not even gonna lie. It's been heavy on my mind. It's been heavy on my mind. So I don't want to just keep talking about it, listening to stuff. Like I even had to. Well, I've been off social media, but like even on YouTube, it's just showing up everywhere. So yeah, I'll just pay my respect to everybody involved. It was a sad day, but that's a reminder that life really like every day that you wake up, you gotta be grateful, and making it back home, you gotta be grateful. A lot of times we just stress over literally anything and everything. But if you knew when your last day was gonna be, like, yeah, like all of these things would be small, they wouldn't matter. So we're here now. If you're watching me right now, we're here now. So let's make the most out of our time, not only during the stream, but just let's make our best of our time here on earth. Let's do our best. Let's literally, if you have dreams, you have goals, you have to go for them, because even if you don't get to see them, at least you went out trying. Like you don't need to worry about nothing else. You don't need to worry about like the little problems and everything. Like that's all gonna work itself out. It usually everything works itself out at some point. Of course, when I say that, it doesn't mean that you don't have to do anything, but it's all gonna pass. It's all gonna pass. So let's make the most out of what we have. And my channel is about trading. So when it comes to trading, obviously, we're gonna have challenges here. In trading, we're gonna have challenges. It's not gonna be pretty. It's not going to be the easiest thing to do. But if you are focused on trading, if you are focused, if this is what you like, if this is what you love, like, listen, just give it your all. Give it your all, definitely. So talking about giving it our all, I am doing something. I'm doing something. So it's September 11th, and obviously this is, actually another important day in U.S. history. So of course, again, I'll pay my respect to everybody, literally everybody. So yeah, I don't want to make it all like dark and sad, but it's just in American history or United States history, it's a lot going on. So, but we'll stay focused. We'll stay definitely grateful, just grateful for being here. So let's go ahead and talk about what I wanted to talk about today. The topic being, is supply and demand still working in gold futures? Is supply and demand still working in gold futures? I'm asking that because I have been trading. Of course, I've been trading mostly oil, and I've been said it. I said oil is my favorite instrument. But right after that, we have gold. And if I have to put a third instrument, that would be the S&P 500, so ES. Those three would be my favorite ones. Now, I am looking to just get back into gold as well, because one thing I have noticed about oil, even though it is my favorite instrument and I love it, supply and demand setups, at least on the 5-minute time frame, like oil is not coming back for them. Oil is just usually doing this. I'm going to show you on the screen. Oil, when it comes to this, like supply and demand, let me show you. And not that it's not working, but even look at this. I mean, perfect example. This is the latest price action. Look at this. So you have a supply setup here. Oil is not coming back to it. It's not coming back to it for the most part. It's not coming back to then go, which is how supply and demand works. So if we look again, all of the supply setups, look, there is another one here. another one right there, and oil is just not coming back to the zones. So to me, I don't think supply and demand is the best strategy for oil. And I've been trading oil, but I don't necessarily trade supply and demand on when it comes to oil. I'm not trading it because look at what it's doing. Maybe on the 1 minute you may have setups that come back to it, but look, this one almost came back and then it just left. So if you are trying to trade supply and demand on oil, like, yeah, I could see why. For example, I could see why my mentor didn't like oil, because he was mainly trading, at least at the time, he was mainly trading supply and demand. So if you're waiting for oil to come back to a zone, I thought about, I'm laughing because I thought about Rick. I'm not gonna say it here, but I thought about something that Rick Ross said in one video. Yeah, he curses a lot, so I'm not gonna say it here, but it's something about ocean, keep waiting. Huz. So, you know, nowadays the kids are saying Huz. So yeah, it's something like that. Ocean, keep waiting, Huz. That's the best way I could put it without cursing or anything. But meaning, just keep waiting. Like if you're gonna wait for oil to come back to a zone, like ocean, keep waiting, Huz. Maybe that's our thing here. Ocean, keep waiting, Huz. So look at this, like it doesn't come back. Like it just keeps going. When I say oil likes to keep going, and we are looking at oil here, you see that, like it just keeps going. So for me, I've been using other strategies for the most part. Of course, when I could catch a supply and demand setup, I'll use it. But look at this, like perfect example, 4 different zones where it didn't come back to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is within a span of like even 1 trading session. Of course, you got to back test, because does it work? I mean, look at this one. This is a low probability. Now, this one is low probability, but low probability supply setup, and it did work. Like it's almost there. Hold up, right there. It actually just tapped it and then it dropped. I mean, and if you caught that, then that would have been high risk to reward, but that would have not been the cleanest setup either. So when it comes to oil, if I'm being honest, supply and demand, I don't think is the best strategy. Yes, it happens sometimes. Yes, you could catch some setups, but at least supply and demand, not the way that I learned it. It's not how it's working there. So we're going to look at gold. We're going to do that. Good morning, Vashi. Good morning. So you're saying I looked at Larry Joseph Ellison becoming the overnight #1 billionaire last night. Really? So we got to look at where all of these companies, etc., are. So S&P 100, S&P 500, all change has risk. Yes. All supply and demand is price action anyway. What we got to do is really catch reversal patterns and continuation patterns in between zones to catch good moves. I'm just saying. And yeah, like literally, Vash C is not wrong, because supply and demand is for technical analysis. You're analyzing the market. You're using technical analysis, and that's on price action. She's definitely not wrong at all. It is in my findings. I've been trading oil now for a little while, so at least consistently for a few months. Supply and demand is just like again, that's one instance where it worked. Low probability, but it still worked. If you look at other ones, I mean, here it did work. We have a supply setup. So, but at the end of the day, I don't think when it comes to the way that at least I learned it, it doesn't always work in that way. I mean, here it did work, but again, I'm not saying it doesn't work. I don't want y'all to think I'm saying it doesn't work. What I'm saying is that there might be better strategies when it comes to trading oil. That's all I'm saying. So see, like here you have supply, perfect break of structure. And then let's see if it failed or if it was just invalidated. I'm exaggerating the zone, but so here it tapped. It didn't break the previous candle. Then this one broke it, and then it failed, right? So, and of course that could happen with any strategy, but look at this. Like, now this one was low probability, still won. Huge demand zone, never came back to it, and he just kept going. So yeah, like with oil, like once oil leaves a zone, it usually doesn't keep like come back to it. So that's why I made adjustments, and I've been using different ways to get into oil. Still working my edge. A lot of it, I think. Look at this. Like here's some liquidity graphs. I think they are more effective. VWAP rejections might be more effective. The only problem with VWAP rejections, which we're gonna get to the topic, but the main problem with VWAP rejections is that the market may reject the VWAP a few too many times. So sometimes, like I haven't worked out. This is what I'm working on. I haven't worked out. I have an idea, but I don't have a full blown like, okay, this is it. Like when it is that it actually takes off. So for the most part, I do catch them, but at the same time, I don't have it will never be perfect, but I don't have it where I want it yet. So this was a liquidity grab here, and then it won. So yeah, okay. Because of that, I am looking to add, I'm not going to add everything else, but at least gold back into the equation. So oil and gold. I don't want to have too many instruments, but this is the main reason why, because when it comes to oil, like I am getting high risk reward setups, but because I have to be patient, I may not get a setup every day. And I know this past few days, I've been forcing setups. Why? Because I'm only looking at one instrument. So I'll add gold back into the equation. Gold, I know that supply and demand was definitely heavy. So let's just go ahead and backtest. We're going to go ahead and backtest right now. Okay, so I'm just going to start from current price action right now. So let's just go ahead and look for supply or demand setup. So right now, what I'm looking is for these zones like this, where you have a big push. So big push. And if you don't know how to trade supply and demand, I do have the course. I have it on my Discord. You could have access to that, right? So here. Okay, and technically I even have it on YouTube. Like had this strategy on YouTube, so it's not like you're buying a course from me. Now if you want to support, I do have it on Udemy. Again, it's free already. It's on YouTube, it's on Discord, but you gotta understand, on Udemy I do have it there. If you want to support, you could always get it there, and the best way to support is to get it there, but not just a purchase. It's really the review. If you could leave a review, a 5-star review, that would be great. I would appreciate that, but you don't have to do that. It's free on my Discord and on YouTube. So all right, so huge supply zone, market didn't come back to it. There was actually another supply zone right here before that one, but it actually, so the market, so it went past it. I'm not going to say grab liquidity, because for me, it would be up here, the liquidity. So it invalidated the zone. And if you don't know what zone I'm looking at, it's this one right here. If you guys already know that when it comes to this, to streaming, I told myself, I'm going to be honest, even when I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, that's okay. As long as I am being honest, as long as I am sharing my true thoughts, my true, like the way that I see things, the way that I might even be feeling, right, about certain things, I will share that. So one of the things that I think right now, I do think that, and this might just be my own experience, I know that there are people making money with supply and demand. I know that. But at the same time, I do think supply and demand is struggling. Like, I do think it's struggling. I think that there have been a lot of fake outs, at least in my experience. And I'm talking about, of course, I have taken trades that were not disciplined trades. I do have to put that in perspective. But even the disciplined trades, the ones that have all of the confluences, the ones that literally are going with the trend, a lot of them are not. They're just not holding. So because of that, what happens is, at that point, is you don't just ditch a strategy. This is what happens with a lot of people. They learn a strategy. When they see that it's not working for a little bit, they ditch it. No, What you got to do is back test and see when it's working the most, when it has the most edge, because market conditions change. You got to understand that. Right now, I've been seeing the market do this a lot. You'll start trending and then it just stops. Even if it doesn't do the crazy like drop like oil, I've been keeping an eye on these different markets. I'll see it just consolidate for a while, and then you'll start ranging. Like I'll see it start ranging, and then maybe you'll break a high, and then you'll just kind of like change character, go back to consolidating. I've been seeing a lot of this lately. Like the market, I have not seen like a clean trend, like at least consistently. I have not been seeing this consistently. I'm not seeing that consistently. So because of that, we just have to backtest and see when it is working, when your strategy is working the most. So okay, right there, that was like I said earlier, low probability, never came back. Low probability. So right now, look, we have a supply setup, low probability. This is gold futures. We'll see if this one holds, and I'm just going to start at a 1-to-1. I'm not going to go for anything higher. That would be a runner. And we'll leave the stop loss at the top of the zone. We'll leave that there. We'll see if that holds. This is low probability, 5-minute low probability. Okay, let me add at least the 200 EMA. And technically, this is a downtrend. So this one, I mean, gold right now, it has been in a downtrend. Now this is looking better. This section right here is looking better than this start. But nevertheless, it is a downtrend. So right now we are seeing a downtrend. So no, supply here never came back. 1 second, let me see what the dog is doing. Okay, back. So I will be honest. I'm sharing as I'm going. Whatever's on my mind, I'm sharing it. Of course, like as long as I can. So I'm noticing a lot of people, when they get into trading, everybody's excited. Everybody's excited about the possibility of making money, the possibility of changing their life. But when they see that trading, that it takes work, that you actually have to backtest, that you have to take trades, that you could win, you could lose. Or like when you see that process, a lot of people get scared and a lot of people just completely drop off. A lot of people quit. If you have been here, you have stuck to it, that right there is an edge. You have edge already. Don't think that because you haven't full blown figured out everything, or you haven't full blown been winning, because you're not profitable. Don't think you don't have edge. Right now you have edge. The people that dropped off already, that's it. They're done with trading. You have edge because you're still here. You have staying power. Like, you're committed. Think about that. So we gotta have patience. It's gonna take work. Whatever I'm doing right now, it's gonna take this type of work. You're gonna start trading a strategy. You're gonna learn it. But the strategy, I don't care what strategy you trade. No strategy is optimal in every market condition. So you always have to go back and you have to back test. You have to see what's working. You have to see when it's working, when it's not. This is part of the process. And if you are willing to do this, you have edge. You have edge. Edge is an advantage. A lot of people think that edge is like a strategy that wins 100% of the time. No, a strategy will not win 100% of the time. Listen, I don't give financial advice, but my opinion is that no strategy wins 100% of the time. I don't care if you're looking at the order book, like the order flow. I don't care what you're looking at. nothing has edge unless you have insider information, which is illegal. If you have insider information, which is illegal, then right there, you know, that's edge, right? But that's illegal. So if you are looking at the market just like I am and everybody else, your edge comes from being committed. Your edge comes from being disciplined. Your edge comes from coming back. And not to my stream, I'm just talking about you sticking with trading. Like, even if you don't look at anybody else, if you don't learn from anybody else, as long as you're coming back and you're learning from your own trades, that's edge. That's also edge. So here, this is a supply, but that's low probability. So I think maybe this is not, I'm on the 5 minutes, so maybe the market's just going and going, may not be unique to oil. I mean, right now, even gold looks like it's also doing the same thing. It's leaving areas, low probability as well, but it's not coming back. Okay, here we do have a demand setup that came back. Let me do something real quick. Let's check. I'm gonna leave that there, so I'm not gonna just get rid of everything. Let's just get rid of these last ones. So okay, here we had a demand setup. Now, if you had a runner, the runner did not, I'm sure it did not hit big. So, I mean, from the looks of it, we do have an M pattern though. The M, I do trade the M. I will talk about the M pattern. Hold on real quick. Okay. So we're here. So demand setup. We have this 5 minute demand, and I may have to go on break again because the dog is gonna keep barking. But hold on real quick. My bad. Okay, so demand setup, 5 minute demand. It tapped, right? It tapped right here. This one, this is the tap. When we put the tool right here, the long position tool. If we were to put the stop loss all the way at the bottom, which I don't do that. I don't put it all the way at the bottom, but that's definitely an option depending on how much money you have in your account. Again, I'm not going to talk. I made a decision. My content is not going to be focused on people doing prop firms. My focus is going to be content. I mean, not content. My content. Did I say my focus is going to be content? My content is going to be focused on people that are trading live capital. I'm not saying I'm rejecting anybody that's not. No. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be focused on people that are trading live accounts. So this right here is 41 ticks. So if you put the stop loss down here, then you would have won. But if you put it like me, if I put it under that candle right there, go for a 1-to-1, I would have lost. I would have lost on this setup. So that would have been an L for me. Realistically, I'm not putting my stop loss all the way down there. So that's an L. Now, I do trade M drops, and an M drop, with an M drop is literally, I'm not going to go into the super specifics here. Hold on real quick. Okay, so with an M drop, literally, it's just like what it sounds like. It's a letter M. So letter M right here, you see that letter M? In my experience, that letter M usually just drops. It just drops the market, and it drops it hard. So look at this. And now this also depends on the stop loss. This might have been a re-entry. So this one, right when we break past that low, so this candle right here, that would have been the entry. So if I have a super close stop loss, I would have lost on the first entry. But on the re-entry, this would have been like a re-entry type of setup. The re-entry would have won. Re-entry would have won, but not the first entry. Now that went crazy. That went crazy. So okay, that would have been in letter M. I call that an M drop. You're probably not gonna find it like that anywhere else. I'm not saying people don't trade that. I just noticed that pattern, and I noticed that the market drops usually after that. So I called it an M drop. I'll probably make a video about it just to make it more specific. But this video, this live is not about M drops. It's about supply and demand. So far, I mean, even for gold, it's not looking good right now. It's just not. I mean, look, here we had and of course, I mean, if we're looking at a demand setup under the 200 EMA, I mean, technically it's counter trend, right? So here we have it still with the EMA there. So I'm going to be fair, and after this one I'm going to look at setups that are above or below the EMA. So demand setups above the 200 EMA and supply setups below the 200 EMA. So I will be fair in that sense. So here, yeah, the market just ripped through it. So that was invalid. You would have not gotten in if you're following the rules there. Good morning, my man's the one-stop trader. So, okay, looking at supply and demand, let's look. So right now, let's look above the 200 EMA. Let's look for demand setups. And maybe, you see, this right here, I'm already seeing. Look at this one. This one was crazy, though. Look at this setup. Of course, when I backtest, I do pay attention to the time. I definitely pay attention to the time. Sometimes I only backtest my, I will only backtest my trading session. But most of the time, I trade everything. I mean, I don't trade. I backtest everything. Why? Because I want to see, like, maybe, for example, I have the ability to trade London session if I have to. So if I see supply and demand hitting more in London session, then I may have to like make that adjustment. So this one tapped the zone. If I put the stop loss right under that candle, this one went crazy. This one did go crazy. And if you pay attention, look, it's a demand setup above the 200 EMA. So that's something to pay attention to. And what I do is I'll copy that image. I'll go here to gold. I'm going to say BT. I can't write with my both hands because with the other one I'm holding my son. So I'm just put BT for backtest. BT for backtest. And I'm showing the 200 EMA, and right there, look at that. That's a beautiful demand setup. So right there, we do see it. We see it working, but it looks like we have to be very selective. Look at this. Let me see if this is another. This is another high probability setup. This one was choppy. It was very choppy though. It was very choppy. Look at this. So this one tapped. This one did not break the previous one, but this candle did break the previous candle. So we'll have to put the stop loss right under it. And this one, it did win. At least the 1-to-1. It hit the 1-to-1 right there. So if you had a runner, the most it went to before like coming back. A lot of people wouldn't sit through that consolidation, so I'm not even going to act like that would have been it. So he went for at least a 2.15. Now, supply setups under that. Hold on. I'll be back real quick. I just got to give my son something and I'll be right back. We'll continue back testing. Now we're going to look at supply. And of course, real quick, this is only one instance, two instances. Now, both instances, one above the VWAP. I mean, not the VWAP, the 200 EMA. So right there, at least I'm going to give you a homework. I gave y'all two demand. I'm going to look for supply. But your homework is going to be to just look for, do what I'm doing right now. Above the 200 EMA, you're going to look for demand setups and see if they want or not. And below the 200 EMA, we're going to look for supply setups. So I'm going to try to continue. If he asks me again, hold on, I'll give it to him.
Don't know if your next trade will be a winner or a loser, but if you follow your strategy,
my bad, I had to cough there. So, okay. Now we're going to look for supply. I will say this. Make sure, like, even though, for example, we're looking for supply setups under the 200. If market structure has been going up against that, just be careful because it might continue. It might go past the 200 EMA. Like in this case, it just kept going up. So definitely market structure to me is still king. Let me give my son whatever he's asking for and I'll be right back.
trade as just one of many, knowing that some will win and others will lose. It's the overall outcome that counts. The key to this approach is risk management. By managing your risk and making sure that your winners are bigger than your losers, you create a scenario where even if you lose more than you win, you can still make money. This is because over time, the probability of success works in your favor. For instance, if you have a 60% win rate, you can expect to win on 6 out of 10 trades. But the key is not to focus on the outcome of each individual trade. Focus on sticking to your strategy, managing risk, and accepting that losses are part of the process. Douglas emphasizes that successful traders are those who think in probabilities and who embrace uncertainty. They don't need to know what will happen next. They understand that the market is constantly changing, and the only thing they can control is how they respond.
Okay, I'm back. Thank you for waiting. Like I always say, you guys know I have a toddler and of course they require attention. I will say this. He's definitely growing up. So it's funny because he knows, like, we have a routine. Yes, it's going to be a quick little parenthesis here. Quick little side note. Because you guys have been with me. Some of you have been with me a little while. So hold on, let me kind of fix this. It's bothering me. Hold on. No, not that way. This way, I guess. See, every time I move, I'm going to get a different green screen at some point. But so far, we got to work with what we have. Okay, I guess that works. You guys have been with me for a little while. So you know that in a way, you are seeing my toddler grow up. Like when I first started streaming, he was younger. He was a little younger and it was harder. I'm not going to lie. It was harder for me to stream because we didn't really have a set routine. Right now we do. We have a set routine and he knows that I'm streaming. So for the most part, like he's next to me. I can see him. Like I go like this. He's next to me. Like he's there. I see him. But he knows that I'm streaming. So because he knows that, he just lets me be for the most part. Of course, I make sure I take care of him beforehand. And sometimes he just stays sleeping. But right now he's doing a lot better with just like letting me stream. Of course, he comes first all the time. He comes first. You guys know that. That's why I go on break. But yeah, man. Yeah, he's growing up. So, all right, going back to this. So supply setups on here. So supply setups below the 200 EMA. And I'm sorry if I say VWAP, it's because I've been focused on the VWAP so much lately that it might just slip. But if I say VWAP, just know most likely I'm talking about 200 EMA. and it's a different color. I don't have it on right now. It's red right now. So toma papi. The VWAP, my VWAP is purple. So if you see that it's purple, it's the VWAP. If it's red, it's the 200 EMA for me. Toma papi. Okay, so here, this is low probability. This is high probability, but the market never came back to it. So here, this is all choppy price action, choppy. Let's keep going. Let's keep looking under the VWAP. I mean, under the 200 EMA. I told you. So, okay, here, this is low probability. You see, like, if you're just waiting for one type of strategy right now, and this may not just be supply and demand, this might be any strategy, because even in oil, I've been trading VWAP rejections. I've been trading not just the VWAP rejections, but the M drops, not so much. They don't always come. Supply and demand, liquidity graphs, but liquidity graphs, they're kind of tricky. They are kind of tricky. You really have to know what you're doing with that. So every single strategy, I have like 3 or 4. I don't strategy have this. The way I see it is, I have said this before, I have 4 ways to enter the market. These are ways to enter the market, and I'm tracking everything. So I'm seeing that a single specific strategy may not happen. And of course, a good setup doesn't have to happen every day. But I'm seeing like the gap between when, for example, a good demand setup shows up to the next one, or a supply setup to the next one. It might be a whole week now. And that's if I'm only trading one instrument. If I trade 2, of course, you might get them a little bit more often. But even with the VWAP rejections, a good one, it might be a few days in between. So lately, like I was saying, me personally, I have been forcing setups. I will say that publicly. I have been forcing setups. That's why I added gold back in, right? I have gold back in. And again, my main strategy, supply and demand. I'm not going to try to be catching like VWAP rejections or anything like that in gold, because not that I won't do it, but I will be careful with that, because I have been seeing them work in oil. But gold, I got to back test. I have to back test. So here, this was a supply setup. Is this under the 200 EMA? No. Is it? No, it's over. So under the 200 EMA. Okay, here. So this one started dropping. Low probability, high probability, but by the time it came back, it was too old. Looks like a whole different, almost a whole different session. This was like Asian session, and then we have London session. So okay, here we have, this is demand setups not coming back for the most part. Price action has been ugly, period. I think price action overall, it has been ugly. Like all these wicks and everything, you're not getting like full-blown clean. This is a trend. This is definitely a trend. I'm not saying this is not a trend. This is a trend, but is it clean? Is it a clean trend? And then kind of like a line like that. So is that clean? Yeah, we are dealing with some of the ugliest price action I've seen since I started trading. And yes, these are only 2 instruments. We could look at NAS. We could look at, to me, NAS was just being ugly for the most part. Of course, there are people that trade it and make money. When I say price action is ugly, I'm not saying people are not making money. People are making it work. It's just that for some people, it's going to be a little bit harder than others. And you got to be okay with that. So, okay, supply setups. Look at this one. There was a supply setup here. I'm going to exaggerate the zone. This one tapped, and if you went for a 1-to-1, what I'm seeing here is that you're not getting huge runners. You're not getting huge runners. Now, this one went for a 1-to-2. It won. But look, if you were waiting for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you was going to lose. You were going to lose. Look at that. And right after that, that became a higher low. Higher low. Then this was still kind of in a range. And then we got a higher high, higher low there. So if you're going to be trading supply and demand, be careful with anything past a 1-to-1. I would say, at least with gold, I'm only looking at gold. I'm not looking at the other instruments. I have not been trading the other instruments, and even though I understand supply and demand, trust me, I understand it. And not to toot my own horn. I'm not gonna do that. But I do have to say, the server that I was at when I was learning supply and demand from my mentor, I was told by the admin, the one who did the homework, like the one who graded the homework and everything. I was told by him that literally within like 2-3 months, in that server at least, I became one of the best traders there. Like, at least knowing, understanding the strategy, I became one of the best. Now, I'm not saying that translated into me like actually making it work for me, because I was in between the prop firms, the live trading account. Like, that was part of my story, part of my strategy. Well, not strategy, but my story, my journey. But when it came to understanding the strategy, he was like, yeah, like, you got it, like, down pack. So when it comes to this, I'm not back testing because I don't understand the strategy. I'm back testing because I want to adjust to the current market condition. When is it working? When is it not? When should I stay away from it? Right now, are we getting runners? No, we're not getting that many runners. So why would I go for a 1-to-2, 1-to-3 risk reward ratio in gold? 1-to-4, 1-to-5. Oil, I could do it, but then we're not getting that many supply and demand setups right now. So that's why I'm back testing. Does that make sense? I want to ask y'all. Let me talk to y'all. Does it make sense to y'all why I am back testing? Like, I want to engage with y'all. I don't just want to talk, at the air, like just talk past y'all. Like, no. Do you understand why I am doing this? Do you understand why I am back testing? Any questions? This is a great time for questions. But if you don't have questions, can you confirm with me? Do you at least understand why I am doing this? If I understand supply and demand, why am I back testing? Because I want to see how it's working now in today's price action, in today's market condition. That's really why. Does that make sense to you? Let me know in the comments. I'll continue here, but I'm going to show this too. I'm going to put this in the server. So right there, that's a 5-minute high probability supply setup. I say BT back test. This is gold. This is gold. Definitely looking at gold right now. So, and I'm gonna look. I'm gonna see. Hold on. I'm gonna definitely look, and I'm doing something for my son here. Sorry. Toma, papi. Toma, baby. Say thank you, papi. Okay. So, reading the comments here. So, Vashi says, yes, it makes sense. I think for me, I may need to move to making my entries on a higher time frame than the 5-minute, because moves happen, but over a long period. Maybe not scalp every oil session. And this is the point. I like that mindset. I mean, you see what Vashi is doing? It's called adapting. We have to adapt. Sometimes it may be like, you know what? For me, for example, you know what? Or for Vashi, like, she's like, you know what? The 5-minute, we may have to adapt. We may have to go to a higher time frame. Now, that may be a 15-minute time frame. That may be a 15-minute time frame. That may be a 30-minute time frame, a 1 hour. And you know what? That's the right mindset. The right mindset is adaptability, adapting, being able to adapt. You see, that doesn't mean she's changing her strategy. It doesn't mean I'm changing my strategy. It means that we are adapting to the current market conditions. A year ago, we were facing certain things in the world, in the United States, and the market reacts to that in a certain way. This year, we're dealing with certain things, certain economic factors, certain news. The market will react to that in a certain way. Next year is going to be different. You have to be able to adapt if you want to make money from trading. Of course, You want to be as systematic as possible, but when things change, you gotta change. The only thing that we know for sure, besides taxes and death, is change. Change. Like, you cannot avoid change. Change is gonna happen. It's gonna happen whether you like it or not. So you have to remain active. You have to backtest. And I don't always backtest. Like, sometimes when I see that I've been winning, I won't backtest as much because the market conditions are favorable for me at that point. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's 8:30. Okay, 8:30. That's news. That was news right there. So today is Thursday, the 11th. So 8:30. Yeah, we have CPI news. CPI. So positive here, right? And unemployment claims. We have more unemployment claims. So look at that. This is why you don't trade news. Look at that. Look at that. Oh my gosh. The market said, boom, let's take all that liquidity. Now we're going to make the real move. Or if you're going to trade news, wait for that initial reaction. Wait for the market to take everybody out, and only then. And I still don't recommend people trading news. But if you are going to trade news, and look at this. Boom, took everybody out down here. Might have took everybody out up here. If people are jumping in right now, it might go back down. But oh my gosh, look at that. Look at that candle. Yeah. So to me, technically, so Vashi says, backtesting on oil, I see price action come back to certain areas often, even if it looks sloppy on the 5-minute. Okay. And thank you for pointing that out. I will be looking at the higher time frames too, which usually I do it to get an entry, but I got to start looking at the levels. Thank you for that. So to me, technically, your edge is the biggest catalyst in whatever strategy we choose in the moment. With oil, it is a solid reflection of the war threats in the real world. So it is unpredictable, but backtesting shows me what happens outside of news, etc. And news we're gonna have, like right now, with gold here. Like you see, we have this economic news. They will affect the market. It is affecting the market right now. So yeah, I'm just gonna give you the homework. I'm gonna give you the homework here again. This is not something I'm testing or whatever. This is just for your own benefit. Look for supply and demand setups and see how it's doing. I will have to continue back testing throughout the rest of the week, through the weekend a little bit. I mean, I'm not really going to get to back test this weekend. I got the concert coming up. So, but yeah, so far it's not, my conclusion. It's not looking good for supply and demand right now, but it is a season. You don't give up on a strategy, you just adapt. It's just not looking too good, but supply and demand is just one way to enter the market. If it's not looking too good, what else do you have in your bag? What else do you have? I'm not a proponent for strategy hopping, but I am a proponent of, you know what? Adjust, adapt. Like you gotta adapt. That is what I'm a proponent of. So don't entirely drop your strategy if it's not hitting as much right now. Adapt. How else can you come into the market in a way that it has edge? Edge doesn't mean 100% win rate. That's a problem. People think that edge means 100% win rate. It's not. Edge is defined in one word. An edge is an advantage. An advantage. What do you see winning more than not? More often than not. What's winning a lot? Or what's winning often? More than not. And that's it. That's edge. But even more than that, edge is you literally showing up every day, learning every day, learning from your wins, learning from your losses. Vashi here says backtesting sucks and test my patience, but it is polishing my edge. We're talking about edge here. Backtesting is part of it. You showing up every day is part of it. Like if you quit, that's say you lost all of your edge. When you quit, you lose all of your edge. One thing that I have learned in this journey is that this whole time that I've been putting in, all of the trades that I've been taking, the winning trades, the losing trades, I'm learning. This is information. I'm being exposed to different things. I'm being exposed to how the market moves. When I lose, one of the things that I have noticed is that I know when I'm gonna lose. I see it. Like, I see it in the momentum of the candles. Now I have to adapt. I gotta cut those trades faster. I gotta trust myself, because I promise you, when I'm gonna lose for sure, and I just haven't lost yet, I know it, and I'm looking at it, but I'm hesitating to cut the trade. I have to improve on that. But the fact that I've been trading, the fact that even when I see that happening and I don't cut the trade, I have the stop loss, I don't move it, so it's just gonna hit my stop loss. But the fact that I've been seeing how the market acts before it takes me out, even if it took me out and I lost some money, that's okay, because that's edge. Next time I see that again, I'm going to be quicker to, you know what, let's cut it. Let's cut it. If I'll take a re-entry, that's something else, but let's cut it because I see it. I saw this before. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for asking questions. Or even if you didn't, even if you have them, it's okay. It's okay. We have the Discord. You could always ask questions here on Discord. We're always in this trading channel here. So that's it. That's all I have for you today. Thank you for tuning in. This is Yo Javi. The world is yours.
You can really make this happen, but you got to lock in. Lock in now. Get some results now. Don't wait. Don't wait for nobody. Not for me. Not for your family. The time is now. This is the time. Go. What are you waiting for? The world is yours. The world is yours.